I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a CEO expert, an agency owner, local SEO expert, and no other than Mr. Bradley Banner.
Hi, Daniel.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Bradley, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Bradley Benner. I run a local marketing agency, local SEO and local marketing or digital marketing agency. There I support local businesses. I work specifically with tree service companies. So I have kind of a niche specific or boutique type of an agency where I work with tree service contractors, but I also teach local SEO, local marketing principles, and I also have two white label agencies where I fulfill search engine optimization services for other agencies. So I've been working in the kind of local marketing and local search engine optimization space now since 2010. I actually have got into it because I needed to learn how to generate leads for my own business. I was used to be an electrical contractor, so I had my own electrical contracting business, and I really learned how to do local marketing to generate leads for my own business. And I kind of fell in love with the marketing side of things, and I got pretty good at it. So I really eventually, after a couple of years of doing both my own electrical business, but also dabbling in digital marketing, I kind of went full time into marketing instead. And I've been working at home, from home basically ever since 2012. And now I've got, four search engine optimization or digital marketing related businesses. And it's been going well. So that's kind of my background.
Mr. Bradley Banner, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Let's talk about how local businesses can improve a lead generation with their Google business profile. Why is well optimized Google business profile is critical for local lead generation today?
Well, yeah, and that's interesting. I'm sure anybody listening to the podcast that is a local business or searches for local businesses, right? Uses local businesses to purchase products and services. They're familiar with local search. So local search would be, traditional Google search, although that's kind of Google's losing market share now in the search environment to large language models and AI chats and things like that. So it's still critically important, though, because we should really be optimizing for all of these things now instead of just Google. For many, many years, we could really just focus on optimizing for Google and achieve significant business growth for any local business that wanted to dominate their area in local search by just focusing on Google business profiles. And so we'll talk about that. That is certainly important, and it still is important. Google is still the biggest, still has the largest share of the market when it comes to search, but they are losing market share to AI chat and large language models, et cetera. So we really need to be optimizing for all of them. But specifically related to the question about Google business profiles, that's critically important for pretty much all local businesses, whether it's a storefront business, which means the customer comes to the business location to, conduct business, make transactions, whatever, or a service area business, which is where the company goes out into the customer's location in order to provide the products or services. And so that would be typically like a contractor, the tree service industry that I work in. Those are considered service area businesses. In any case, people that go to Google and search for, like a product or service near me, which Google suggests that type of a search all the time, especially when you're on a mobile device. You want to have a Google business profile that's well optimized so that it's more likely to be served or at the top of the search results for that particular query for the product or service, whatever it may be. And so it's critically important to have that optimized properly. And it's not that difficult. You don't need actually an agency or an SEO professional to do that because it's pretty standard. And I say it because I do that all the time. For a local business, it might not be standard, but it's basically just go in and complete everything to the fullest capability, right? Make it as complete as the profile as complete as possible with accurate information, with really thoroughly thought out descriptions and things like that. And certainly having a marketing professional can help to flesh that out properly. But I know local businesses, I mean, with the access to ChatGPT and the amount of data that we have available to us, you can go to YouTube and find videos that kind of show you. My channel shows how to do that kind of stuff, but find information on how to just optimize the profile fully. But beyond just optimizing the profile, there are activity things that you can do on a regular basis, or a business can do, whether it's a marketing, an employee that's in charge of marketing for the company or responsible for marketing, or the owner himself, or themselves, or their even their employees, right? So field service technicians, things like that, can all contribute without having to really know anything about digital marketing. An example of what I mean is, for service area businesses, especially, taking photos out on every job. This is something. This is like a cheat code right here, guys. Any of your audience that is a local business or knows local business owners that have service area businesses, this is a real gem of a tip here, and that is, if if you make a habit of going out on every job and taking 3 to 5 photos from a mobile device, and you go directly to the Google Maps profile. You don't have to be a manager. You don't have to have like account access or nothing. Anybody can go to Google Maps right now and search for a company. And when it comes up, you can click add photos. So anybody can add photos to a Google Business or Maps listing. And so if you take photos from a mobile device while out on jobs, 3 to 5 photos is all. Just get in the habit of doing that. And what happens is that photographic evidence, when you upload it to the Google Maps profile, and like I said, they're service technicians or salespersons, whatever, all of them, anybody that works for the company can do this. But taking those photos and uploading them, there's a lot of metadata, geographic metadata, that's embedded in the in those files, those image files, that shows like where the image was taken, like the exact coordinates, the time of day, all that kind of information is like validating evidence to Google that the company does indeed do what they say that they do in the areas that they claim are within their service area. And so just taking photos regularly and adding them to the Google Business, the Maps listing, again, don't even need to be a manager. Anybody can do this. Kind of shows Google and proves to Google that they, with photographic evidence that's non-manipulated, right? Because they're original photos from a mobile device being uploaded directly to the Maps profile. That can train Google to really give that particular company more exposure for their products and services in that area, because the evidence proves that they do indeed do those things. And so that's kind of a cheat code that works really well for service area businesses, but even storefront businesses can benefit from taking more photos and uploading them to the profile.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Brad. And what is the most common mistakes businesses make when setting their GBP that hurt their visibility?
Missing categories are the wrong categories. The business categories are the most important thing, or one of the most important things, I should say. You get a primary category designation, and then you can add additional categories. It's critically important to add the broadest but most relevant category is the primary, and then any kind of additional categories that are relevant, that are typically a little more specific, they should be added as additional categories. But even if you don't get the primary and additional categories correct, like maybe you've got them kind of out of place, it's still just important to have the appropriate categories. Where I see a lot of mistakes for local businesses is they either have missing categories that are relevant to their business, which basically kills their chance of that Google Business profile for being served in the search results for any search queries related to those categories. If the category is not present, why would Google serve that GBP up in the search results, right? So missing categories is a huge mistake, missing relevant categories, but then also having the wrong categories associated with the GBP, which we see that a lot too. And that because what happens then is you get impressions for the wrong types of search queries at times, and you get what's called a bounce, because people will click through to go check the website or the Google Business profile to see what products and services they have, and if it's not a match, then they're going to click the back button, and that's a negative signal. And so that can actually hurt as well as just it can be misleading to the consumer too. So the biggest mistake I see is categories not being correct.
Beyond basic info, what profile elements most impact lead generation?
Reviews right now, 100%. Reviews and photos. If you can get, like I said, a lot of photos is critically important. People, we as consumers are used to seeing things. We respond to visual stimuli, right? So having a lot of photos is important, but also getting customer and client reviews. That is one of the most important things in Google Business or local search right now, as it relates to Google search, is reviews. And it's not just getting reviews, but it's also what's called review velocity, which is the speed with which you collect reviews. So for a local business, again, if you can kind of outpace the speed with which you are collecting reviews versus the other competitors in the area, it will show typically a significant ranking boost, like it'll a lift in performance and exposure across a wider area for the products and services that the company provides. Reviews alone has a significant impact on exposure for local search.
What's your step-by-step process for optimizing a GBP to maximize conversations?
Just go into the profile manager and just make sure there's a little wheel right at the top in the right corner, like of where the profile manager options are, like settings, info, all these, like you can add photos, posts or updates, things like that. So in that kind of little profile manager window screen, there's a little wheel up at the top that says the profile completeness. And so it's just a percentage meter basically. And so you just want to go through and complete everything. Like I said, with AI now, there's no reason that you can't thoroughly optimize a Google Business profile with proper content and copy, etc. Compelling copy and things like that, as far as like call to actions, but also thorough descriptions of what the products and services are that the company provides, the areas in which they provide them, etc. All of that stuff is just go through the Google Business Profile Manager. Just go step by step through it, complete everything to the fullest capability with thorough descriptions. You can use AI to help you develop that content. But then once you have all that done, that's, the next thing is really just promote your Google Business Profile. Try to, again, getting reviews is critically important. Get people to engage with it, which means, leaving reviews, posting regularly, uploading photos regularly, that kind of stuff. It's also critically important that your website that the GBP is linked to is also optimized properly. That's a whole other topic for another discussion at another time. But the GBP itself is kind of the starting point. The website that it's connected to should also be optimized properly. But yeah, just making sure it's fully complete is really the first step.
Mr. Bradley, as a local SEO expert and agency owner, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short-term goals right now is really developing solutions to optimize for the AI takeover. Skynet is taking over the world, and so we really need to know how to optimize for that. As Google continues to lose market share to large language models and AI chats, etc., we need to know how to get our clients, our local business clients, into chat recommendations when somebody is querying for products or services in the areas that would be related to the businesses that work with us, that are our clients, if that makes sense. So as an agency, as a provider of agency services, my short-term goals are evolving to meet the demands for this AI evolution, this AI revolution, I should say. So that's number one. This long-term goals really is to kind of develop more kind of automated marketing systems with AI, so that it requires a lot less personal involvement from the companies that are using our services, right? So again, I run multiple white label agencies where we have a lot of personnel, a lot of people. So there's a lot of human involvement, and that's great because I employ a lot of people and blah, blah, blah. That's all fantastic, but it's also hard to manage with that many employees, and there are mistakes that humans make that AI won't make. And so it's, I want to create more automated marketing systems that can streamline agencies' demands for personnel and personal or human involvement, if that makes sense.
Makes sense, Mr. Bradley, and looking forward for more success and good luck to your goals.
Well, thank you.
And what will be your piece of advice for those people that want to be an SEO expert too, as well as an agency owner?
Right now, I would not focus so much on learning about traditional SEO, Google SEO. I mean, it's still important to know it because it's still going to be around for some time. But Google is moving even, Google's pushing AI mode now in search. So we need to focus more on optimizing for AI and large language models. Anybody that's getting into the marketing business, the local marketing, et cetera, again, it's still important to understand traditional SEO to a degree, but I wouldn't focus a lot on that because it is declining. And Google, its days are numbered before even Google goes mainly towards like what the AI chat results are like Perplexity and things like that. So that's really what we should be optimizing for, and that's a whole different animal, a whole different ball game, so to speak, right? It's a whole different game to be optimizing for AI and large language models than it is for traditional search. And so, learning, kind of getting up to speed with that is I think the most important thing for anybody that wants to enter into this space.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Bradley. And can you please recommend books or book that influenced your journey?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I've got so many. It's hard to nail down or just recommend one, but really, to me, the biggest things that the there's mindset books that are important to kind of help get the mindset in to the appropriate place. As an entrepreneur, you always have to have your mindset correct, or else you'll likely fail. But then there's also, I don't really read, all I read is nonfiction, right? And so books on mindset, some of the ones that have been the most powerful and most influential are some of the classics that everybody's familiar with: Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. When I was a young man, that's kind of what got me to want to become an entrepreneur. But then learning direct response marketing. I'm in the marketing business. So I've learned a lot from authors like Todd Brown, the E5 method. Brian Kurtz, Over Deliver. It's an outstanding book. Dan Kennedy, who can forget Dan Kennedy for direct response marketing? Like, he's got a number of books about direct response. Read just about everything that Dan Kennedy's ever produced. So significant influence on my career. And then also sales book. Like, I really had to focus in. Any business owner knows you have to understand and know sales in order to be successful. No business is successful without sales. So learning sales, some of the most influential books for me for sales that really transform how I'm and helped me to become proficient at sales is Neil Rackham's The Spin Selling Method, or Spin Selling. But then also he has the Spin Selling Field Book. That is kind of a sales model or method that works really well for selling agency services, etc. Matthew Dixon and Brent Adamson has the Challenger Sale, which is kind of like an evolution of the spin selling. That's actually kind of the sales method that I use now in my sales presentations. But like, another fantastic book for mindset specifically for salespeople is Jason Forrest's The Mindset of a Sales Warrior. I think that's one of the best books out there, specifically for helping sales professionals or people, business owners that are responsible for sales, to kind of overcome mental blocks in selling. And so I think Jason Forrest, The Mindset of a Sales Warrior, is one of the best books that I've read as far as helping me to overcome problems and insecurities in my sales abilities. So I think all of those were just a handful of the most influential books on my career.
Thank you for the recommendations, Mr. Bradley. And what are some creative ways business can stand out from competitors on GBB?
Well, actually, believe it or not, one of the biggest things that people can do to improve their digital marketing performance right now in Google search, and it would likely also influence language models as well, is doing more. Well, first of all, content marketing, but not directly from the main website. Doing, like, essentially creating content about the brand and how it relates, to create associations between the brand, the company, and the products and services that it provides, and kind of getting content out there across a lot of different platforms and a lot of different formats. And there's services and things like that can do that. There are agencies that can handle that for local businesses, because for a local business to try to know how to produce a lot of content, reformat it into different formats, and then republish it across different platforms, that can be a bit challenging, but it can be done. It can be managed by agencies. That's really important for optimizing for language models. But for Google Business and traditional search, one of the most valuable things that this might seem odd, but doing offline marketing and advertising. Like if you can get people consumers in a local area to go to Google or Bing or whatever and do a search for the company name and then click through, those signals are incredibly powerful for actually improving the performance of the digital assets in search. Like in other words, it's the signal of a local consumer searching for the company by name and then clicking through and engaging with the website and converting as either submitting an opt-in form or requesting a callback or whatever it is, the conversion goal is. Those signals are telling Google and the search engines that that company is popular in their local area because they're being sought out by name instead of a generic search query and then just clicking through the providers that were listed. These companies are being sought out by their name, and that is a signal to the search engines that they are an authority in their local market. So actually, one of the quickest ways you can improve performance in local search is to do more offline marketing and advertising. Yard signs for contractors, yard signs, newspaper ads, local radio, local TV ads, anything at all where you can get the brand name out there, so where people will go to search and search for the brand, like local consumers will go search for the brand name and then engage with the GBP or the website or whatever. All of those signals are absolutely fantastic for improving search performance.
Mr. Bradley, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. And my geography 101 in its fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its
Wow, you're a
first
busy
season.
guy.
Busy indeed.
That's
Please,
impressive, man.
thank you so much. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Bradley, if you could only give one GBP optimization tip for local lead generation, what would it be?
Make sure it's accurate and get reviews.
Yes, reviews. I think I got 545 reviews on Padmatch. Thank you so much for that. And I hope it will be also on Apple Podcasts. So, Mr. Bradley, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Best thing to do is just check out on my YouTube channel for my coaching and information product business. That's where I teach marketing, local marketing, and that's Semantic Mastery. You just go to youtube.com @Semantic Mastery, youtube.com/@Semantic Mastery, and then you can see we've got over 4,000 videos on our YouTube channel. We do a weekly webinar. It's a Q&A, free Q&A webinar open to the public every Wednesday. We call it Hump Day Hangouts. So you can check out all that stuff over there and get engaged with us there if you wanted to.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Bradley Banner, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy, more and more empowering local SEO will come. So, Mr. Bradley, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.